What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Philip back with Thrifty PS Gamer Reviews. Today we'll be going over Star Ocean First Departure R. This game is for the PS4, PS5, Switch. It is a remaster of a remake of a game that came out in 1996. This game was developed by Tri-Ace, published by Square Enix, and it is very much in the vein of the art style of the time, being 1996. Go into this understanding that, go into this knowing that. It doesn't have just the most beautiful scenery ever, according to today's standards, but according to 1996 standards, this game was top tier, top notch. I freaking love this game. Also, it is free to those who subscribe to PlayStation Extra or PlayStation Premium, or you can purchase it for $20.99 on the store. Now, I know that $20.99 is not normally the price point I go with, but because it's available to those who subscribe, I did want to kind of highlight that you could purchase it outright. This game is, I would say, one of the best RPGs of the NES, or Super NES generation. Super Famicom, rather. And I say Super Famicom because this game only came out in Japan in 1996. It took us till, I think, 2007 to get it remade on the PS Vita, or PSP. So, that's a lot to say that this game is an old, retro title. You will not play this game and get Final Fantasy Remake style of graphics. Understand that going in. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. I am 36 years old and I love this type of stuff. Takes me back to a simpler time. Takes me back to a time when games didn't just hold your hand and cater to everything. So I love this title. Let's start out with the main focus, or what should be the main focus of every RPG, and let's start with the story. You start off as Roddick, Millie, and Dorn. They are three friends. Your main character is Roddick. You're basically like the city guard in this town, and it's really funny. The game knows the trope they're using, where like the adults don't do anything really except sell you stuff, and the kids are the ones that protect everything. Awesome. There's actually a person at the very beginning, if you speak to them, will say that you kids have the responsibility of taking care of us, which is pretty funny. They know who they are. They know what they're doing. I like that. I like games that are really self-aware. The next thing, you end up in this first city. You find out that the city to the south of you, it has a outbreak of some kind of disease that's turning people to stone. Millie's dad is basically a healer. He's a cleric. I can't think of the symbologist. There we go. And he goes to that town in order to see if he can help. While he's there, he contracts the virus. And the virus has an incubation period of 1 hour, turns to stone in 3 days. He sends a carrier pigeon back. Dorn gets the message, tells Millie. Millie and Roddick are like, yes, we need to go. And even though the dad has told her not to, Millie then sneaks out on her own and heads there. So now you and Dorn are headed to this town to help Millie. From there, you find out that you need an herb from this mountain. You go to the mountain, you fight some things along the way, and then, you meet these travelers from the Star Ocean, from outer space. I had no idea that Star Ocean had to do with space. This is my first Star Ocean game ever, and it makes sense that it has to do with space now that I'm thinking about it. They transport you to their ship. They tell you that the herb won't work, and that you have to develop a vaccine for it. Well, they try to, it doesn't work, and now you're on a quest to find the original source so they can get the cellular makeup of the original source that this other group of people developed this virus from. There's some other things in there that I'm leaving out because they're kind of important to the story, like why they're turning people to stone in the first place. That's a pretty big freaking deal. But that starts your adventure. You go down, and as you're looking, your party gets separated because it's an RPG, and now you spend time as Roddick and Ilya trying to find the missing party members, the other two missing party members. And that sets you off. Guys, this story, to me, is very much a Star Trek meets Final Fantasy meets Tales of Arise with the graphical stylings of Chrono Trigger. Which, if you know anything about any of the stuff I just named, that in and of itself should be enough to get you to play this game. But let's get into some of the mechanics. So you have skills that you can use in battle. They're called special arts. You have other skills that can be leveled up that help you in your fight or help you develop or craft things, stuff like that, like cooking. You have determination, which I would recommend, according to everything I've read, to dump everything you can into determination because it lowers the cost of all your other skills. So you really want to do that. Get that to 10, and then start going into resilience and then effort once you actually get the books. The way you get these skills is by buying books in each town you go to. Some of the towns are going to sell you 2, some are going to have 3, some are only going to have 1 that's new, but you always want to check it out. Which brings me to one of the other mechanics. Literally, talk to everybody. I have heard 4 reviews on this game, and all but one of them were like, the game doesn't teach you anything. It's so freaking annoying when people play RPGs and have no idea what they're doing. And I understand that RPGs are not for everybody. But listen to me when I tell you this. If you talk to every single person and actually listen, about 30% of the time, you're going to find out something useful, something that is needed for the game to continue, something that is needed to teach you something. As a matter of fact, in every town that you go that has a place that sells these books of knowledge or books of combat, there are 3 people in there. One that sells them, one that gives you a rundown of what each different book contains that they're selling, and then a third one that always gives you a little piece of advice. Listen to the advice. As a matter, in like the third town you go to, there is somebody who tells you determination lowers the cost of SP, which kind of makes me kick myself for looking up a strategy guide on what to level up first. Because if I just would have listened and done what I'm telling everybody to do right now and not tried to jump the gun, I would have found that out. Also, it tells you that some skills can be combined. Some skills can do... There's so many different things that you learn from talking to people. Speaking of talking, this game does have voice work. On the PSP version, they added voice work. They kept it here. The voice work is absolutely stellar and impeccable. I love it. It did not do the normal campy JRPG Titus laughing or overreacting Barrett or anything like that. The game's voice work fits the tone of every scene that you're in. And I absolutely love that. I respect that the developers and the voice actors did not just say, hey, let's overact this, let's make it campy, let's do all of that. No, it plays perfect to each scenario. The voice actors in this also have done some pretty dang good work outside of this game. So it's not like they found people off the street to do these voices. These voice actors have done even stuff as recent as Ladybug and Cat Noir, or Adventure Time, I think is what the name of the little cartoon is called. They've done other big budget productions. So I really love that because you know you're getting quality voice acting. The voice acting is wonderful. You'll see where the head pops up, and that when a head pops up, that's when you're getting most of your voice work. I'd say voice work in main scenes or main story points is about 70-30. You'll get about 70% of them are all voice acted, 30% of them aren't. That's fine. I also like that you can speed past like the dialogue if you want to. I chose not to, but I know some people just like to read and go. I personally want to hear all the voice acting. I freaking love it. I cannot stress that enough. Between the voice acting, the retro style on here, the fact that they didn't try to go big budget, all out, let's rechange everything, I freaking appreciate that. This is the first game in the series, and I think they nailed it. Let's get into combat a little bit. Combat, there is one thing that annoys me a little bit, and it's the fact that you can't change your target, but other than that, I love it. It is very easy. It's the level gaps, you'll see in some of these videos, I've over-leveled some of my characters, and that was just because I've played RPGs before, and I like grinding, getting all the best gear in each area, getting my items and stuff full for the journey ahead, and then I move forward. In doing that, I'm over-leveled for where I'm at right now. I have put in probably about 11 to 12 hours in this game. Actually, now, at the time of recording this, I have 16 hours in the game. And I just got a character to join me, and she's level 30. And I'm level 29. So I know that I'm at the right level cap now, and I'm going to go grind again. The grind does not take a long time. Go outside of a city, walk around, do that for about 20 minutes. You'll encounter about 10, 15 battles. You'll level up 2 to 3 times. You'll get more SP to spend on your skills, and you will be the better for it. I have a system in place where I go outside of a city, I do that, and as soon as I start clearing fights without having to go back into town and go rest at a tavern or an inn, then I know I'm good to go. So that's pretty much combat. You can use special arts in combat. You have different classes. You have martial class. You have a heavy attack class. You have dagger. There's a character that uses daggers, white mages, dark mages. Like you have all of it. Now, they're not called those things in the game. Like obviously swordsmen are called swordsmen, but you don't look at Millie, for example, and she doesn't go, hey, I'm a white mage. Like, they don't take that route. You get a character a little later on who you meet sort of at the beginning, and his name is Ronix, and he is a black mage. Now, they don't tell you that. You just know from playing Final Fantasy, oh, this guy does fire, meteor, ice attacks. He's your elemental mage. Got it. Cool. I love that, because you can kind of customize and build your party. Also, there's so many things that you can do with regard to building your party. There's so many different routes. I do recommend looking up a couple guides on how to do that. The game keeps my interest. The game absolutely is worth every single penny of this. The story so far is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. I do see where they have borrowed from other franchises, which is fine. I am not opposed to borrowing. I'm working on building my first D&D campaign, and one of the guys said that 50% of the process is theft, meaning check out what other folks are doing and put some of those elements into your world building, into your game. I love that. I think that's great. And I think that's what most developers do anyways. And so, yes, they have pulled from Star Trek. Like, the ship is almost exactly like what you would see in a Star Trek film. You have a bridge, you have your engineer, your all this other stuff. You have teleporters, you have little badges they wear that help them communicate. Like, that's straight up Star Trek. But you have all these different classes, which is straight up Final Fantasy. You have action combat, which is straight up Tales of Arise. You have these graphical styles, which is pulled directly from all the RPGs of the time, mainly Square Enix-focused RPGs, Chrono Trigger, things like that. So, I mean, stealing is not a bad thing. To be able to put it up with all those other series is wonderful company for this game. I think everybody who loves RPGs, if you like those retro ones, or if you're ready for Star Ocean Divine Force that's coming out in a couple months, and you're trying to get more backstory on the series, play this game. Check it out. It's, like I said, it's available to PlayStation Extra and PlayStation Premium subscribers. It's $20 if you're not a subscriber. Also, the other two Star Ocean games that most people rave about, Last Hope and Until the End of Time, are actually on sale right now for like $8 each. So if you love this one and you want to keep the story going, get those as well. So, guys, in conclusion, play the game. It's super fun. You'll enjoy every minute of it. And don't listen to those crappy reviewers who have no business reviewing RPG games or RPG mechanics. There are random encounters. It's an RPG. Deal with it. Sorry. One of the guys on here, railed it for about a minute and a half on the fact that it had random encounters. It's a dang RPG. It's supposed to. And you can actually put radar on, which, as you level up radar, lets you negate the random encounters. Anyways, guys, leave a like, subscribe, comment if you've played this, comment if this interests you. And as always, stay thrifty.